And that's what happens in our life, is that we have so much chaos going in our life. We got messages coming in. We got phone calls to do. We got our kids crying. We got things, houses going on fire, whatever it is, that if we don't have stability, that just will make us feel so overwhelmed.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Thrive State Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Kien, aka Dr. V, triple board certified MD and performance and longevity expert. And I'm super excited to be joining you once again, bringing you another awesome guest to take your life to the next level. Now, to get to where I am right now, to be able to learn everything that I need to learn in my own journey of becoming the best version of myself, and certainly that journey does not ever stop. I attend a lot of conferences, a lot of seminars, a lot of workshops to become a better version of myself. And during that journey, I meet other people who are just as excited and just as crazy to become better versions of themselves as well. And I actually met our next guest at a Tony Robbins seminar. It was actually Unleash the Power Within. It was an event in Dallas where I met this guy. He was standing 6'7", or 6'6", I should say. And I'm standing at a mere 5'6". And here's a guy who was super young, but very, very hungry. I could tell from his presence, he was eager to learn. And I've seen him develop over the years. I actually witnessed his transformation from becoming a nurse to a fitness trainer to becoming a main stage speaker. And he basically, coaches people from all walks of life on how to achieve more vitality in their life, but also how to actually create the life and the business that they love. And I am just super impressed by watching how much and how fast he has grown. You're going to learn a lot on this podcast, but namely how he went from a career that was helping people to actually achieve more impact and more influence. How he became a nurse to a main stage speaker to be coaching people in the Tony Robbins sphere. Why peak performance is so important for any purpose-driven leader. You're also going to learn how confidence can be built. And lastly, and here is a super important skill to have, is how to deliver massive value to anyone you're working with. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a leader, now whether you're a speaker, a coach, an entrepreneur, a leader, delivering massive value is a trait that when you possess and master will give you basically anything you want in life, which is why I find this podcast to be so awesome and super stoked that you get to meet this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy is Jake Havron. He was once a nurse, but now a business strategist. Once a nurse and now a business strategist, Jake Havron helps purpose-driven leaders in achieving desired results quicker, both in business and in life. From leading business accelerator workshops to keynote speaking around the nation, Jake provides specific guidance to increasing your leadership capacity, building more confidence, and applying peak performance habits into your busy lifestyle every single day. I am super excited. You're going to see this guy's energy. You're going to feel his confidence, and I hope it's going to rub off on you. Ladies and gentlemen, Jake Havron.
There he is. Good-looking guy. How are you?
What's going on, my man?
I feel like I'm looking in front of the mirror. There's so much good-lookingness happening right now.
Yeah, I only look this way because I'm actually being reflected by you. So.
Ooh, wow. Check out the lines coming out of this guy. Well, Jake, it's such an awesome time to be able to hang out and see you again. Jake and I used to hang out at like a bunch of Tony Robbins events together where all the top people get together, top-minded people. Good to see you again, my friend.
Oh, man, it's been too long. I've been seeing you just absolutely just crush at doing your concierge servicing and helping people in the medical side. You're on TV, all these things. I'm like, what the heck is Kien doing over here?
I can't wait to dive into your story a little bit more because like some of the details I never really got. So I'm really looking forward to that. But just to see how you become as somebody who just stepped into your power. I don't see many people, some people might say age, but I don't see many people that all reach the level of impact, power, confidence that you display. And with your age, it even is that much more crazy. So I want to let everybody know a little bit about who you are before we start by playing a game called Thrive to Thrive. Are you ready to play, Jake?
Okay, this is definitely candid and fresh for anyone listening. So I did not know about this. Let's do it. I'm excited.
All right. So 5 to 5 is a game show I play. Look, if you win dinner with me. Each question's worth 1,000 points, and each answer has to be less than a minute long. All right. Okay. So Jake, are you ready to play 5 to Thrive?
I'm ready to play. Let's do it.
Here we go. Question number 1. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a professional basketball player. I played basketball since I was in 2nd grade, and the dream was to be an NBA player. So that's ever since, even outside of college. I almost played professional. Actually, I signed a contract for a Hawaii professional team. And unfortunately, 2 weeks before the season was about to start, the whole program collapsed. The coach dipped. A long story, but yeah, that's what I wanted to be when I was growing up.
Professional basketball player. Awesome. Question number 2, 1,000 points right there. Question number 2 is, what was a favorite book of yours?
Favorite book. So the funny thing is, I despise reading books because of school. But when I realized that books actually are the combination of knowledge from people with decades of experience, my favorite book became Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. That just spoke to me when I didn't understand books yet, and that opened me up to possibilities that I couldn't even imagine. So Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. I highly recommend it.
Awesome. Question number 3, and I might know the answer to this, but who was your biggest mentor, you would say?
Oh, you, of course. No. There we go. Now we're getting the special dinner. Tony Robbins. As you guys know, Tony's my greatest mentor. If you guys have not dove into his content, please dive into it, because it was just a few years ago I did, and it completely changed my life. So Tony Robbins for sure.
Oh, awesome. Now, question number 4 is, what's the biggest audacious goal you have for 2022 this year?
2022. So I am creating a way to serve more people, because I do one-on-one consulting, to give them more business consulting. So I'm actually launching my strategic business consulting company that allows for up to 50 people to be served at their highest level and accelerate their business. So that's my big goal for this year.
And look, if you're starting your business, if you want to create a new mindset as to who you need to be to carry out the actions that you need to take to get results, call up Jake, all right? You just need to get a phone call and call this guy up. Last question for you. You've got 4,000 points so far. You can win it all with this question here is, what would you want to be known or remembered for?
It sounds so corny and cliche, but I want to be the person that allows that when people remember my name or hear my name, they're like, that guy shifted my life for the better. Whether it was in my relationship, whether it was the guy that helped me in my business, whether it was the guy that helped me realize that I'm worth more than I once thought, I want to be remembered as that. And even if it's one person that takes that onward, that means so much to me. And that's why I'm on this mission today, is because of that feeling.
Ooh, wow. Well, dude, 1,500 points. That's 5,500 points. Dinner with me.
Whoa. All right. First off, I got to say, I did not know that this was happening. So I guess I get dinner with the stud himself. Oh, man. Okay. Let's go.
All right. So, super awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jake Havron. And I got to say, Jake, how you make me feel is knowing you makes me a better person, because I see you when we have very first started at your very first Tony Robbins event, when you were just networking, just getting out there, hustling, learning, absorbing, saying yes, raising your hand, going in front of the question. I'm like, wow, who is this guy? And just to see that hustle, that drive, that passion allows me to fuel myself a little bit more. So I want you to know and reflect that back to you, Jake. So thank you for doing that. And you said if one person gets touched by you, you've made it, man, you've made it. And I know you're going to touch so many more people with the knowledge you're going to share on this podcast, brother.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that.
People might not know this, but you started off your career as a nurse. And just to look at you now, ladies and gentlemen, this guy is 6'7". He was about to be a basketball player. Imagine this guy being your nurse. So tell us about that story, and tell us about how that sort of, what were the circumstances that started you having to pivot to do what you're doing right now?
Well, usually people discredit me and give me 6'4", but you just went above and beyond and called me 6'7". I'm 6'6". All right. So 1,000 points to you. I became a nurse because I was on a path of, I loved fitness. I wanted to become a professional basketball player, and I loved sports, and I wanted to actually go into exercise physiology. My sister was becoming a nurse at that time, and they're like, you know what, this is a way better job, more money, more opportunities. I was like, okay, let me go be a nurse. So I always had this calling to help people. I just didn't know what that really meant. I wasn't really personally developed in any sense until after college. That's when I started diving into podcast books and all that. And it was just, I was going on this route of nursing. I loved it. I loved helping people. The idea of what's possible was so exciting. But it was towards my senior year of college. I got my Bachelor of Science in Nursing, so 4 years. And I was working in the ER. And this was when it really flipped for the other, flipped to where it just kind of had a snapping point. And this person came in with a heart attack. They were in a coma. I'm in the ER. So right away we respond to them. We're helping them. We give them the right prescriptions. We do the right procedures. And, they get stabilized. And I remember their family came in shortly after, and he was in his late 40s. He was a husband with the kids. And I remember they looked at me, and him in specific, and he looked at me, and he was just like, looked over his family and was just in all this disbelief, because obviously he didn't know where he was. And he was like, Jake, like, how do I not get here again? Like, literally, he was like, please, just looked over his family. He's crying. So I give him the right pills, the right things to do, the right exercises, stay away from this food. And I was like, cool. I helped him. Like, great. He's good. How could he never want to be here again? Right. That's all I knew at that moment. A couple months later came by, Kien. I'm sure you've seen this a lot of times.
Yep.
The same exact person came in.
Yep.
And I didn't connect the dots right away because it's been a couple months. It's just, I'm not going to recognize them. But when I did, dude, it just ripped me apart. I was like, obviously I had to still go and serve him and take care of him, and we saved him again. But it ripped me apart where I just felt uneasy after. And I didn't really understand the internal calling within me at that time, but I just felt uneasy. And that's where I slowly started to taper away of like, I don't know if nursing's for me. And it was after I graduated as a nurse, I decided that instead of getting people out of the hospital, I'm going to start keeping them out. And I chased my passions of being a personal trainer in the fitness space. I just had this calling to help people stay out of the hospital, the ones that wanted to stay out, just as you are a concierge serviceman for people that want to optimize their health, not because they have to do it. And that was the whole start of my entrepreneurship, was going from nursing to being a personal trainer and starting my own business. And here I am today doing what I do. But it all started at that little pivot.
Oh, that's amazing. It really tells me that moment of change within you. And I just hear in the passion of your voice. And Janine agrees with me. Janine was like, wow, what an incredible story. I could hear that passion. I could hear that wanting to serve more, because like you, I've got patients that I come in, I can do a procedure on to open up, a clogged blood vessel because they're eating wrong, they're not sleeping right, and they're smoking, things like that. And you hope that they do better. And then they go home and they do the exact same thing. So yes. I, like you, were like, I wasn't given the tools in medical school or where I was training to actually reach them at their core, at their heart, to prevent that. And it's such a heartbreaking thing. So let me ask you this. How did you get into the field of high performance, which is what you're doing now? And why is high performance so important for anybody, wanting to accomplish anything in life?
Yeah, and I want to make it really clear too, is that back when that happened, and there's a lot of people that are probably going to be listening into this as it's all over the place, is that your current situation, you might not understand why you're doing what you're doing. But the moment you become aware of that, which I wish I could have been more aware at that moment, I wasn't personally developed, the faster you can change and redirect your path. And for me, by the grace of God, he had his hand and gently directed me the way I should be. But if you could be aware of like, no, this isn't made for me, and you go down the path that you're called to do, you'll have way more results. And so what happened for me is I became a personal trainer. And this is to answer your question. And right away I was ridiculed. I was like, you're leaving nursing, the full paying job. You're leaving, my mom would say this, and I bless my mom, I love her. She's like, you're not going to have insurance. That was the biggest thing for her. She loved insurance. You're going to go be a personal trainer. That's not going to last. That's not going to pay the bills over time. That's not going to be permanent. I was like, you know what? I had a calling, Kien, to go that way because I felt aligned. And I'll tell you this right now, when you have passion behind the action that you create, anything's possible. It doesn't mean I was only going to stay at personal training. I didn't know where I was going to go, but I was so passionate with that my business took off. I didn't have a single idea of business. I actually got a C- in Economics 101. That was the only business class I took in college because I was becoming a nurse. But I dove deep and I learned from podcasts and books on how to give massive value in marketing and sales and retention and all these things. So if you're on that journey right now, just know it's possible. So what happened, Kien, is my personal training maxed out. I was training 8 clients a day. I was making decent money, but I wasn't scaling. I didn't know how to scale. And so I asked the question, how do I go further than this? And by, once again, the grace of God, he put a person in my life that had a mentor that told me how to become an online coach. And that was a big jump for me. I was scared on taking this step. It was a significant amount of money. I didn't know what a mentor was. I didn't understand what that really meant, but I trusted that person. And because I trusted that person, I paid the money and I learned how to be an online coach. And within a month, my business completely changed. I'm helping people over the nation. I'm able to travel now. I'm making more money and being able to give more. That's the thing, is I see money as the more I make, the more I could give, right? And I know you have very similar alignment.
Yeah.
It's like, I talk about money in a way that maybe makes other people cringe, but I say, no, I want to make so much dang money because it's going to allow me to go build more schools. It's going to allow me to go serve more communities. It's going to allow me to help more entrepreneurs get the things that they need. And so I went from online trainer, and what happened is when I got into the Tony Robbins space, I started to work alongside these busy entrepreneurs that were traveling and they were, not in the best shape of their lives. And I had the solutions for them. And I just had to be very adaptive and flexible and say, hey, I'm already doing what you need. Let me tailor my approach to you. And business took off. And the last part to this, Kien, and I'm sharing this because my journey is not just a one road journey. And for a lot of us here, we're going to have a lot of pivots in our lives. We're going to have a lot of different, forks in the road where you actually will get to your ultimate destination. And what happened for me was how I was helping these people in their health. They were also sharing with me their business struggles, their mindset struggles, and I was giving them advice and different ideas, and it started to work. And I saw them getting more successful in their business. And I was like, I really like helping people make money. I like helping people get more time freedom. And that's where I started to venture into business consulting. Started off for free, got some testimonials, got results, and then I gave it as one of my coaching pillars. And then now here I am today, where this is my main thing I do, because if I could help people have more financial freedom and more time freedom for their families, everything else aligns. And that's just my journey in a small little,
in a
window
little
of time.
nutshell.
Yeah.
We're gonna crack the nutshell a little bit, because I want people to take home some actionable things, and a few key things that you said there I want people to take away was the investment in yourself, even when you didn't really have the money at that time. So many people feel like, when people talk about investing in themselves, it's a way of selling a product or whatever it might be. But I've invested probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in myself with masterminds and developing myself, because as I develop myself, as I develop what's here, I could see what's possible. I could see, what used to be a ceiling and go past that. So can you talk a little bit about how important it is just to make that investment in yourself? And, I know some people who say, okay, well, I don't have a lot, but you certainly kind of went all in, believing that the investment was right for you.
Absolutely. And I got to be real with you guys. And yeah, we do want to make this very applicable. So if you're listening to this, please know that we want to make this application and not just motivation. Is that when you look for investment opportunities, yes, you have to stretch yourself a little bit, but please make it a smart financial decision, and base the word smart on what your highest self would see as smart, not as your current state. Because smart for you would be any money going out besides taking care of your family or taking care of your basic needs might not be a smart decision, but that's never going to break you out of your comfort zone. But don't do anything that's going to literally put you in a scarcity mindset for months and months to come because you gave every single penny. Right. So for me, I had the money that at that time to invest, but it was a stretch. It was bigger than I've ever expended. It would have definitely depleted me a little bit, but it would have not put me in a debt. And that's where I was able to make a smart decision. So if you're in that situation where you're looking to invest in a mentor, realize that a mentor, a coach, a guide is meant to get you from where you are to where you want to be faster. And if you can see it with clear, and please don't invest in a mentor that doesn't make this crystal clear to you, or a course or a program that doesn't make it crystal clear, or it doesn't really get you the results you want. You should feel absolute confidence and certainty from that person to get where you are and where you want to be faster. And that for me, that was to become an online coach at that time. Now I have multiple mentors and a board of advisory that I've created through my network, but I've got that mentor because my ultimate outcome was to be able to impact more people's lives from anywhere I want, to have more financial freedom in the sense of making money, not just for trading time per hour. And it was a very clear path. And so that's what made me invest in that. So if you're in a situation right now where you know that I could invest in this or I should, first of all, you should have a group of friends that you really trust, or like a group of business colleagues, or at least one person that you can soundboard this information off. Say, hey, you know what? There's this opportunity. I should look into it. What's your thoughts? Don't have it be your mom. Don't have it be your family that don't understand business or investments. They'll say, I don't know. But be able to soundboard it off, because you'll maybe get ideas that you never thought. And that's how you expand that mindset you were talking about.
Oh, beautiful. And I would say that sounding board, that community you want to ask is people you want to be like, people you want to become, not your current peer group. Because I have a feeling if you're looking for coaching, you want to pierce out of that peer group and that mindset.
This episode of the Thrive State podcast is brought to you by the Thrive State Accelerator. The Thrive State Accelerator is actually a home course that I developed using the exact same techniques I work with my celebrity clients, CEOs, and executives on how to get them to the Thrive State. The Thrive State Accelerator teaches you how to master your 7 bioenergetic elements. That's sleep, nutrition, movement, stress and emotional mastery, relationships, our thoughts and mindset, as well as purpose. In this Thrive State Accelerator, you're also going to get a bonus module on optimization. That's how I talk about supplementation, peptides, all the optimization techniques I use with my clients to get them to the Thrive State. Now, for some of you who are just joining us for the first time, you guys might be wondering, what is the Thrive State? Well, the Thrive State is actually the energy, the epigenetic environment we give to ourselves, telling our DNA how to act and how to respond. And if we want optimal health, longevity, and peak performance, if we can master these 7 bioenergetic elements, our ability to have those 3 things that we just said, optimal health, longevity, and peak performance, is at its greatest. And it also prevents you from getting chronic symptoms like brain fog, being overweight, feeling sluggish, acne, pain, all these chronic symptoms, as well as preventing you from getting chronic disease. So getting to that Thrive State is really getting to that state to master being that very best version of yourself, so you could show up for you, for your family, for your business, everything that's important to you. So go ahead, check it out right now at kienvu.com/accelerator and use coupon code podcast25 for 25% off. Now back to the podcast.
The other thing you mentioned earlier was beautiful, that once you find that thing you were passionate about, it was almost like jet fuel for the thing that you wanted to do, and you were going to make it happen. I know so many people, particularly because I'm in the medical field and I have doctors that actually gave up so much. Like, I had to give up happiness to do that. I had to give up a little bit of family time to do that. And they sort of given up a little bit of themselves over time, that they were used to, like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give up on my passion. I'm going to give up on me. And they've already gone through so much. How would you recommend for those people to maybe even understand, to spark that passion in their life again? You know, when they're like, man, it's great he found his passion. I just want to find my passion again. But, you know, I've said no to myself and my passions for such a long time. How do you recommend somebody find passion in their lives?
Yeah, it's actually quite perfect. I was talking with a really close friend who's in his later age, right? He's been doing his same business for decades. He's in the mortgage business, and he is making good money, but he's just not passionate about it anymore.
Yeah.
And the problem I hear nowadays is that people say, you just got to jump all in and just chase your passions and everything else will come. Great. That works if you have financial stability behind you, because the biggest difference maker of people's success is, are they operating in an abundant mindset or a scarcity mindset?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're jumping all into your passion and you don't have any financial stability, you're going to be in a scarcity mindset real quick. And it's going to be easier for you to retreat back to where you came from, or second, not have a successful business because all you're doing is trying to get things out of scarcity, right? And people feel that, especially if you're trying to sell stuff. Yeah. So I was talking to this guy and I was brainstorming with him and I was just asking him, I was like, what are you really passionate about? What excites you? What can be something that, allows you to serve people with no return of investment right away, but you would be excited about? And so he was like, well, he's almost 60 years old. And he was like, I love crypto now. I love this idea of bringing layman's terms to crypto for maybe, people around me. And I was like, what if you just created like a newsletter that was crypto knowledge specific for people that are like 50 years and older? Right? Because there's so many young crypto people, but what if you just were giving your knowledge to these people that are 50 and older and they respect you more and you're just giving them free value? He's like, oh my gosh, that'd be awesome. I was like, you don't have to do it for business right now, but eventually what would happen is you're going to build enough trust. They're going to like listening to you. They're not going to want to listen to the 25-year-old, but the 55-year-old. And now they'll, if you ever release a course or if you ever, have a little meetup, like you could build friends. And for him, that was the fire that ignited under him, that if he ever left his mortgage job, he would have fun with that. But he would leave his mortgage job because he has financial stability. So if you're in a place right now where you're trying to find that passion and you work a 9-to-5 job or you're still, on a W-2 employee, don't just leave that. Start to branch off and find what you're passionate about and go and maybe start creating content on that. Maybe start learning about it so you can teach other people. And then eventually when you feel enough of an ability to jump over, then you can leave your job. You have some stability. Maybe you have some money saved away and now you can go full force into that. And that's my approach on being able to turn your passion into a profit.
Oh, beautiful. It really sounds like, one, don't have the expectation that it's going to bring money right away, but just start to follow the clues that bring joy into your life and then sort of do that. And then as that builds up fire, you could probably figure out how you share that gift with other people and get paid for it as well.
Absolutely. People will put their money towards anything that you have extreme passion and action behind. The reason why my personal training business took off wasn't because I was 20 years of experience in personal training. Actually, I just got 3 years ago when I started that, I got my certification a couple of months before. But I was so passionate. And yes, I did have some experience just learning fitness throughout growing up, but they wanted to work with me. They wanted to pay me. They wanted to allow me to serve them because I was so passionate about that. And they felt that and they knew I cared about them. And that's what started me off.
Well, that brings me to my next question was, you look at this guy, Jake Havron, 6'6", and full of energy, full of confidence, full of passion. And, some people are like, okay, lucky guy, really great looking, 6'6", he's got to be confident. But, I know a lot of people that are your height or your good lookingness that might not be there. But I personally believe that confidence is actually a skill we can build. So I want to ask you, do you believe that is true? And then two, what might be some tangible tips people could do to build more confidence in their own lives?
Yeah, this is where people start taking out their notes or start, putting little savers on this to come back, because this is where application comes from. And I was not always this way, by the way, Kien. I was actually a late bloomer. Most of high school and college, if you look at me, they were like, who is this guy, right? So I wasn't just born this way, and I definitely had to earn it. But what I talk about with confidence is there's two parts to it. There's internal and external confidence. And I'll give a brief application for both. Internal confidence is your mindset, right? It's the way that you perceive things. And one of the quickest ways to have a more strong and confident internal confidence is by having a morning routine. Because if you don't have a morning routine, and look, I don't want to just be vanilla here and just say, hey, you need to have a morning routine. I want to give an application, but you want to think of your morning routine and night routine as like the bookends of your day, right? Your day in the middle is like the books that are behind you, Kien. And if you had no bookends, literally a piece of a feather could go by, a little mouse could scurry over it, and all the books fall over. And that's what happens in our life, is that we have so much chaos going in our life. We got messages coming in. We got phone calls to do. We got our kids crying. We got things, houses going on fire, whatever it is, that if we don't have stability, that just will make us feel so overwhelmed. So look at it as the stronger your morning routine and night routine is, the more confident you are to have stability in that chaos. A lot of people love the miracle morning. I'm sure you recommend a great morning routine as well in the Thrive State. Do what works for you. If you don't have an hour to do a morning routine, then don't do it. Don't feel like you have to do nothing. Like Tony Robbins, our greatest mentor, says, if you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life, and you're going to be working for other people. If you cannot take 10 minutes out of your day, or 15, as I'd say, because the one thing I'd recommend if you don't have a morning routine is go on YouTube right now and type in Tony Robbins priming and do that. With the first 1 or 2 videos, it's like 14 minutes long. Just put that in your ears, sit down in a quiet place and listen to what he tells you. You're going to do breath work. You're going to do gratitude. You're going to do visualization. It's amazing. If nothing else, do that. You're going to feel more confident. You're going to be aligned with your goals. That's how you take care of your internal confidence. If you have a better focus and vision on where you want to go, you'll be less distracted on all the opportunities and things that are coming your way. So that's internal confidence. I hope that's really helping people here. External confidence is your posture. And this is one of the things that I talk about with peak performance. It's little subtle changes that make the biggest difference. The 2 millimeter shifts lead to the biggest difference over time with the compound effect. When you communicate, if you guys are watching in live right now, I'm standing up, and I know Kien has a great posture as well too. I'm standing up because my communication is through body language. And whether you see this or not, and you're on Audible, you will feel the difference in my voice because my body language is in flow. If I was sitting down and slouched and I had bad posture, you would hear the difference. Communication, only 7% is the words you say. That's where maybe you go to, get a new car or something, and the salesman says all the best things, or you get on a call to maybe get a mentorship from someone and they say all the right things, but you still feel that little uneasiness of like, I don't know, maybe I should think about this. Maybe I need to go talk to my spouse or my wife or my kids. That's because 7% is only communication, Kien. 38% of communication is tonality. So if I start to talk really slow like this, or I talk really fast and people don't like this, that's tonality, and it might not resonate with people. But 55% is body language. So if you can control your body language, having better posture, I talk about one specific thing you could do at your home right now. It's called the doorway drill. Every time you walk through a door, you should put a sticky note. So in your house right now, like if you're at your house or even your office, get a bright sticky note, put it at eye level right on the door. And that's your visual cue, which is going to remind you to do this doorway drill. So every time you walk through the doorway, I call it as the full body reset. It takes you less than a second to do. What you're going to do is you're going to tuck your chin in. That's the very first thing, because what happens, Kien, is that we're on our phones all day and our head slightly goes forward. And as you probably know, every single inch that your head is leaning forward adds pounds of weight onto your neck. And that's why you get back pain. That's why you get headaches and migraines. So tuck your chin in so you can have a nice upright posture. Your shoulders are going up, back, and down. And your core is slightly pulled in tight. Not sucking in, just slightly pulled in tight. And you're going to do that every time you walk through a doorway. You're going to start to train your posture to be in the most peak performance posture that allows for you to have more energy, allows for you to breathe deeper, allows for you to give off a better energy. So when you walk through that door, you've seen those people where they have a great posture and you're like, oh, this guy looks like he's either really successful, he's really happy, he must be, like fulfilled in his life, compared to the person that walks through and is slouched over with a beer belly, and they could be a billionaire, but you don't know they're a billionaire because they look unhealthy, out of shape, and dissatisfied with their life. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I just want to piggyback on that a little bit. When you think of a certain emotion, and confidence is a certain emotion too, there is a breath pattern and there is a physical pattern going along with that. So you'll notice that when people are scared or nervous, they'll start breathing a certain way, and they'll start, maybe posturing that certain way, feeling that emotion. But and that'll lead to that emotion. But if you could hack that around by doing what you're doing, there is a way somebody confident breathes. There's a way somebody confident postures. In fact, there's a Harvard study that demonstrates that if you actually stand in a power pose, you actually lower cortisol levels in your body, and you increase the confident level of the confidence hormone in your body, which is testosterone. That goes up. So really, really awesome tips on that. Now, last question I have for you before I dive into my very, very last question is, in this world, we're always talking about delivering massive value, giving people around us the very, very best of us. How do you train somebody to give the very best of themselves to others? Particularly when some people feel like, I don't got a lot to give. How would you answer that question, Jake?
That's a great question. So I learned this equation from one of my other mentors that I really respect. And if you guys are interested in business, I recommend going to listen to him. His name's Alex Hormozi. And he really just opened up the way of creating value through a specific equation. It's 4 parts to the equation. And this is how you provide massive value in your business, your relationships, to people that you don't even feel like you have value to give. Number 1, the top of the equation is you got to know what their dream outcome is. The higher and more clear that you know what their dream outcome is, let's say it's someone that, they're looking to lose weight, right? Or they want to feel healthy and happier. You got to be absolutely clear with their dream outcome, right? Most people, if not all business people, know that. The second part of the equation, which you also want to increase, is the perceived likelihood of achievement. This means that in your business, or even just yourself, the more confident, like if you're not a business and you're just someone that's trying to learn how to help give value to people, the more confident you're in yourself, the more you'll give off a perceived likelihood of achievement that you could get them that dream outcome, right? Another way in business to do this is through testimonials, through reviews, through great marketing and branding. That's ways to increase the perceived likelihood they're going to get their dream outcome. Most people still know that, Kien. The third and fourth part, which really matters, and this is what's going to make you stand out comparatively to the market, comparatively to the industry, and comparatively to any other person that is trying to give that person value, is how much can you decrease the time delay that they could get that dream outcome. So if your person that you're trying to help is trying to lose weight and they are able to get it faster, quicker, and more effective through you because you decrease time delay, you're giving them more value because people love fast nowadays, right? There's a reason why Amazon has the one-stop shop button where you literally click the button and within one click, you already got your food coming on its way. So maybe next time you're trying to give value to someone, and whether it's, they just arrived at an area you live and you saw that they arrived and you can pick them up from the airport and you could be there waiting for them because, instead of them getting an Uber or a taxi, you could say, hey, you know what? You're right in my town. I could be at the airport. When does your flight leave? Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And you can get them that dream outcome of getting to their destination quicker and faster. That would be a great way to give them value and also allow for them to be able to have some time with you because you're serving them. I've had a couple people do that to myself and to my significant other, Emily. They said, hey, you're in Florida. I could pick you up. Don't worry. Like literally, it's a real thing. Wow. And the fourth and final part of this, Kien, is you want to decrease the time delay because the only thing that people will pay for when things are free is convenience, right? They would rather pay for Uber instead of walking to the place because walking's free, but Uber gets you there faster, is effort and sacrifice. If you can make it as simple as possible where they don't even have to worry about it, you go pick them up at the airport and you're already there. They don't need to call you and text you and see where you're at and you're, oh my gosh, running late. They're going to see massive value from you. And this is just for personal wise, but if you implemented this in your business, whether you did this through some sort of 10-step protocol on how to achieve XYZ, and they see it and now they realize it's a simple process instead of some big extravagant process in your business, you will give more value. And when you give more value, you are able to receive more in return, but you have to give first because when you give, that is a law of reciprocation and people will come back to you and say, how can I help you?
Ooh, so good. I want you to summarize that. Those 4 steps again, starting with step number 1 is know their outcome, right?
Yes. Know their dream outcome. Let's just do this in business because I know there's a lot of probably business owners or people, even if they're medical doctors like yourself, know what the dream outcome for people coming in is. Be very crystal clear on that. And that's where you can make even more marketing material around that because now it leads to that. The second part is increase their perceived likelihood of achievement. Better marketing material, better testimonials, more reviews on your website that allows for them to know that if they work with you, they're going to have the best. Share your experience, your credentials. Let them know that you are the best. Decrease their time delay. Make it where if it's on your website or your call to actions, it's a simple button they click to fill out an application. They don't have to jump through all these hoops. They see that the time delay for them to get the procedure done. Let's say if you're a dentist, they come in, they schedule an appointment, they show up, and once they show up, they're getting their teeth cleaned. Not they got to go through this loop and they got to send this paperwork and they got to talk to this person and do a consult. That's too much. So decrease the time delay. And then the fourth part is decreasing effort and sacrifice. Make it simple for them. Give them updates on when the package is coming in. Give them updates on, the process of their program being completed. Let them know that there is little effort on their side, but they're going to get their dream outcome. When you do that, that's the value equation. You will see massive results in your business, in your relationships, and your personal life.
Ooh, that was so good. Jake, you were just full of tons of value here. How to become confident, how to deliver massive value, all that in just a short period of time. Now, if people wanted to find you to hire you as a business coach or a strategist or a speaker, I mean, people could see, you're all that and more. How do people find you?
Well, appreciate that. And, you could just go to jakehavron.com. That's where you're going to see more info on there. And one thing I'll leave everyone here is all the information out there, all the stuff I'm sharing, you probably heard this before, it's out there. And once again, as our mentor says best, Tony Robbins, he says, we're not lacking in information. We're actually drowning in information. If you wanted to go and build a rocket, you could literally find the blueprints off of NASA on Google and have the blueprints to build a rocket. The problem is we're lacking wisdom and we're lacking in application. And with business consulting, it's not just knowing those formulas, but it's knowing how to implement that in your specific situation with your current bottlenecks and with your current problems that you could fix and see great results. So that's where I really love helping people. So jakehavron.com, you'll see more info on there. You'll see ways to work with me, connect with me. And if you're tuning in through social media, send me a message on Instagram at Jake Havron. I love connecting with people. I know you do too, Kien. We're not the type of people where we say we're too good to message or respond to our messages. So send me a message and let me know what was your biggest takeaway at jakehavron.com.
Oh, beautiful. Now, the very last question before we close off this podcast is, in life, you've got Tony Robbins, you've got excellent peer group, you've got all this training behind you. What would you say has been your best medicine?
This is just for me personally, and I know maybe not everyone would resonate with this, but I know the ones that it would really resonate. My best medicine is God, is the Holy Spirit within me, my belief and faith in the Holy Spirit, because I believe the reason I'm able to connect with people, even if they don't have a similar faith, is because that allows for me to flow the Holy Spirit through and for them to feel that. And there's always a difference. And I got to shout out my beautiful significant other, Emily. She gets this all the time. She says, people ask, how are you so different? You just have something to you. And we just believe it's the Holy Spirit because that's what allows us to stay humble. It allows us to stay young and allows us to always have our mind on servitude and not what I could receive. And so that's my best medicine, is allowing the Holy Spirit to flow through every single cell of my body.
Wow. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Jake. And thank you for being on the Thrive State podcast, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Thrive State podcast. And if this podcast is bringing a lot of value to you, if you find that your life is just improving with this podcast, that your life is getting to the next level, please consider supporting it. And here's a few ways you can do so. You can do so by liking this video and commenting on this video, and also sharing this video with your friends and family. Another thing you can do is go to ratethispodcast.com/ThriveState. Go ahead and leave us a 5-star review there. It will really, really help the show grow. And this will give me more time so that I could actually give more content to you, just like you got in this episode. And if you haven't already picked up a copy of my book, Thrive State, Your Blueprint for Optimal Health, Longevity, and Peak Performance, you can pick it up now. It became a #1 new release in longevity. Go to thrivestatebook.com. And if you enjoy the book, please consider leaving us a review as well. And the last thing you can do, if you're liking everything here and you want to work more closely with me as well as my team to get you into the Thrive State, go to kienvu.com/accelerator and consider joining the home course, the Thrive State Accelerator. It's really the course that I use. It's the concepts that I use personally when I work with CEOs, celebrities, and my high-profile clients to get them to the Thrive State. Again, the Thrive State Accelerator at kienvu.com/accelerator. And because you're a listener of this podcast, I want you to save 25% by using the coupon code podcast25. I hope we continue to give value to you. And remember always, you are your best medicine.